Was Paul more important than you? Welcome to Coffee with Pastor D.
The sun sets free. Oh, it's free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am.
Oftentimes we get to thinking about our biblical heroes, Moses, Paul, Peter, David, so many more. But the question is, are they more important than you or I? No. They may have done great things, and they may have had great missions in the Lord, but remember, each one of them had flaws. Each one of them wasn't any better than any other person. They were willing to do God's work. As a matter of fact, one time, God even thought about just wiping out Moses and choosing somebody else to do his work, but in the end, he relented, and Moses did great things. Not because Moses was more important or not because Moses was better than anyone. It was because God had set him on a mission and he was willing to go. You know, it's exactly what Paul's talking about when he's talking about it in 1 Corinthians 12. I want you to not miss something in this chapter about the gifts. Don't want you to miss the heart of what's being discussed here. It's in chapter 12, 1 Corinthians, starts in verse 22. On the contrary, it is much truer that the members of the body which seem to be weaker are necessary, and those members of the body which we deem less honorable, on these we bestow more abundant honor, and our less presentable members become much more presentable, whereas our more presentable members have no need of it. But God has so composed the body, giving more abundant honor to the member which lacked. Wow. Giving double honor to the ones who we think aren't worthy of it. Those who seem less are actually more. If we go back and we remember what Jesus says to, if you want to be, for those who are first are last, and those who are last will be first. It is those who we seem that are unassuming in our kingdom are the ones that God honors the most, because oftentimes it is those who God will use the most because they're the most willing. See, I can't put myself down. I can't allow myself to think that I am less than I am, for God can use anyone for any purpose if we are willing. See, because you got to remember, it's not you or I that does the work, but it is God that does the work in us. It is the Spirit that works through us. That is what the first half of the chapter is trying to tell you. That all these gifts that get bestowed, all these things that get done, those are things that are done because God deems them to be done. Not any special thing within each person. No, but it is God that does the work. And don't think that God can't use you. He can use the least of these to do the greatest of His work. Remember that. I want you to hold on to that. For when He does, I want you to remember others. I want you to reach back behind you and lift the next guy up. I want us to each remember what God has done in our lives for others, that we might see His power working and show others that He can work in them as well. For each person has a part. Some are out in front like Paul. Some have big missions like Moses. Some are busy saving folks in the background. For Paul didn't do a lot of baptizing. He allowed others to take care of that because those were the ones on the ground making relationships and establishing who people were in the gospel. No, there are those who do the day-to-day stuff, the unsung heroes, the ones God's using in different ways in order to give glory to Him and to the kingdom. See, for whatever God wills for you, do it with joy. Don't think of yourself lower than anyone else, for you are just as special, you are just as needed, you are just as worthy in the kingdom of God as anyone else. For everyone is equally important in the kingdom of God. Each person has a special place and a mission to fulfill in God's plan. Don't think that you aren't good enough or strong enough or anything else enough, because I'm going to tell you, you aren't. Only God is, who works through you in the Spirit. And thanks be to God for that. For He can do great things if we just remember we are all important in the kingdom of God. Thanks for joining me for just a little deeper look at the Word and a sip of coffee. God bless y'all.